Welcome to Balanced Life with Debbie Carlin Boyle. Conversations connecting to a healthier you. The show that gives you all the latest and greatest health and wellness information to inspire you to live a life of balance and joy. Debbie Carlin Boyle is a health and nutrition coach, personal trainer, and fitness instructor who helps her clients live in balance with everything that feeds us, in addition to the food on our plate. Please welcome your host, Debbie Carlin Boyle.
Hello, hi everybody. Hello and welcome to my show. This is Balanced Life with me, your host, Debbie Carlin Boyle. Conversations that connect to a healthier you. And I got a conversation, a big one for you today that you really want to plug into. But before we get started, a couple of things that I want to remind you. Number one, we're an interactive show. So to get involved with us, you want to go to call us if you can to interact and become part of this conversation. The number's 323-524-2599. That's 323-524-2599. Another way to interact is to go to my Facebook page, which is Balanced Life by Debbie, or just go to Balanced Life and you will see there that the show is actually streaming live and you can make a comment, ask a question. I get right back to you right after the show and the conversation goes on from there. And a third way, of course, is it will be up on my YouTube channel by the end of the week, and comments and questions. If you are watching on YouTube, you can just keep a conversation going. My guests come back and answer your questions post-show. So also, I want to remind you that, as you can see, I'm doing a Zoom show today. I am at home. I've been living in a bubble with my family because my daughter gave birth to a brand new baby girl just 5 days ago. So I am so excited, but I wanted to be around her. She, wanted us to take all precautions. So I got very excited and decided to do the show from my home in that safety so I can go back and forth and be with my new granddaughter. So this is my first granddaughter. She's, as you're going to see, she's a big part of the reason why I do what I do for a living, which is I am a health and fitness coach. So I am requesting for you, if you like, to get a hold of me through my website. That's Balanced Life by Debbie, DEBI.com. And there you can see all the programs that I'm running, the webinars, and I'm going to have a group program up by the end of the month, a 6-week program that we're going to stay well together. I think there's a little bit of a sigh of rejuvenation going on in our country right now. We're feeling kind of energized and we want to ride that wave and stay healthy and stay strong throughout the winter months. And I'm going to help you do that. So remember to go to my Facebook page or to my website for that. So today, our show, we're going to discuss a subject that has touched all of our lives in one way or another. Whether it was a friend or a family member, we all know somebody who has been lost to cancer. I know for myself that when I experienced the loss of my father to cancer when I was just 20 years old, and then I went on to see my aunt, my grandfather, my nephew, and my mother all pass from various different cancers. It just underlined the reason why I changed my career to focus on helping others to educate themselves, to implement a life of health and longevity. My guest today is Susan Holland, who's the executive director of the Cancer Schmancer movement, a nonprofit organization founded by Fran Drescher that seeks to educate everyone to take control of their body. Cancer Schmancer advocates a forward-thinking, holistic, whole-body approach to wellness. Susan has been with the team since 2008. She is a health advocate in her own right and has a passion for developing relationships and connecting people through moments that entertain and make a difference in health across the board. So here today to talk about her personal journey and all the amazing things that Cancer Schmancer is doing, will you please welcome my guest, Susan Holland, to the show. Yay, where's our applause? Yay! Hi, Susan.
Hi, Debbie.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm
Good.
very happy to be here with you today. Thank you for the invitation.
I was really excited to have you join me, and you probably saw me jump off my spin bike when I heard what you do, that you are the executive director of an organization that's doing so many incredible things for in the world of health, and I grabbed you and said, "Oh, will you do my show? Will you do my show?" And we came up with this date, and it happened to kind of overlap the birth of my grandchild. So that's why but you
And
didn't
plus,
have to drive.
no, but plus we're connected by so many wonderful mutual friends that we both share too.
Yes, because you live in Malibu and I lived there for many years, and all my clients are there. Mostly my clients are there. And yeah, it's so funny because when we became Facebook friends, the one thing we noticed right away, or I noticed right away, oh, yeah, I mean, there's something like over 100 friends that we both are mutually know. So, and we
We've
could go
gotten
down
around.
those. Yeah.
We've both gotten around.
We have. Well, that's a whole different story. So I am so glad you're here. And this is an opportunity for me to get to know, and my audience to get to know a little bit about you and your journey that took you to the Cancer Schmancer organization. And then we're going to get into all the wonderful things that you guys are doing. But tell me a little bit about yourself. Were you born, where you grew up, the kind of your beginnings, your childhood? I love all those stories.
Okay. Well, I was born in Brooklyn, New York, the youngest of all boys. And I actually moved out to LA against my will as a young teenager. My dad relocated us to Los Angeles, which then became quite a tumultuous background, quite frankly. So I want to stay very positive here, but it was very tumultuous. And actually, the things that have always stuck with me about growing up now all over the valley here in LA is watching a mother that became extremely unhealthy and not willing to do anything about it. Obese, chain smoker, kind of also angry at my dad for moving her here and pulling her away in her early 40s to her life, So, but my background about just being really conscious of my well-being and my outside image, and then growing into a much more mature woman to the inside, as opposed to just not the outside. And so, but I grew up all over the valley. Again, had a very unhealthy mom, and always lived a little bit edgier as far as what I ate and things that I used on my body early on. Kind of like a hippie-esque in a way, but not so much because I missed the era, but it organically came that way. So my background is really, New York, LA, and very independent, didn't come from a lot of money, been working since I was very young and having to fib about my age to get jobs. And it landed me in my first love for fashion. So I kind of went to, I took this incredible job the last year in high school and trusted this couple that told me this is what they're going to do with this beautiful shoe store. And then they're going to turn it into 20,000 square foot of the most unusual clothing, shoes, and accessories in the San Fernando Valley. And we want you to be our buyer, and we're going to train you. And I just trusted them. And I have to say that I went on to go to FIT, and everything he said happened. I was with them for 13 years. With 1 year off of a leave of absence to take care of my dad, who got cancer. And it's been a world that was, again, where it took me back to New York a lot of times, to my hometown. So I love that.
Yeah, I was going to say that was a happy place for you.
That took me back to New York all the time. And then after that, just from life, I went into the wholesale end of the business when we closed up in 91. And then I was living in Calabasas at the time, just moved there because I wanted some different school districts for my younger one, who was 5. And then driving downtown LA wasn't great. And I entered a world of travel show productions because at the time, my ex-husband now had a big media company. And what I did is I headed up all of our travel division. So that included, again, a lot of travel, and we hubbed it in New York City every summer. So another thing that always took us back to New York. And then very organically, I became single in '05, still living in Calabasas and wondering where all my single friends were. Well, I really only had one single friend at the time, and her name was Fran Drescher. And I said, get me out of here. And I'd hang out with her on the weekends on her beautiful deck. And she had just finished writing the book, Cancer Schmancer.
Right.
And when she came back from her book tour, it was kind of like, I need to do something. I mean, so many people I hear stories from the same happened to me, happened to so many. How are we going to educate? How am I going to use my celebrity for the greater good? I need to start a movement. So organically, after she started the foundation and the 501c3 in 2007 and got it up and running, I said, I'll volunteer for you for 1 year, because I'm in the middle of reinventing myself, becoming single. I don't know what I want to do yet, but this is amazing. I'll produce our first launch, and I did a luncheon, and I handled special events for 1 year, volunteering. The rest is history.
Yeah, that's fabulous. And yeah, because you obviously got very immersed in the cause, which is, a cause that we can't ignore, and a cause. Right. And I have to say that, the whole movement that Cancer Schmancer is so wonderful, because the message is the most important. And the message is education, it's prevention, and it's also early detection. But with education, you can be preventative, and then the early detection is the key. So that statistic that you guys put out right away on your website, the first video that comes up is the statistic that 90 to 95% of stage 1 cancers can be cured 100%. And right. I love that statistic.
Well, that's because only 5 to 10% is genetic. So what that means is we're getting sick from environmental lifestyle.
And that's the message here. And the website guides you through how to take care of your internal lifestyle, all those things that have to come together to consider yourself being non-toxic, but also your external, what your environment is like. And people know that inherently, but they don't really know how to do it. And the website really talks you through it, really gets you through it. I'm so impressed. I dug in, I took a deep dive after I met you into it, and I've watched these Corona Care shows that Fran has been doing with different specialists on how, from every angle, we need to look at being well around this virus in spite of. And it's really informative. It's the most informative I've seen in all of my research since we've been in this pandemic.
Yes, thank you. And the reason that I produced that and we dropped 20 episodes right away is because you're not hearing that, unfortunately, in our, kind of in our news right now. A little frustrating, but everyone's doing the best they can, but you're not really hearing these out of the box doctors and really what to do to keep your immune system high, key here, and your inflammation low.
Right. And those go hand in hand.
Absolutely.
Right?
And, you were saying one of our mantras is, how about let's not get sick in the first place? How about how's that for a cure? And how do we do that? So, but thank you, because the website and content, it's a daily job.
I can see that. And we're ever changing. I mean, I think that, there's a lot of specialists in this field right now that are coming at us from different directions, and some things we want to grasp onto and other things we want to be cautious with. But we also know, it's universal, it's a given, that if we take care of ourselves through the food we eat, through the socialization that we are limited to right now, but still need as part of our self-care, through our sleep, making sure that we get enough rest, for making sure that we, keep our, whatever we're doing, keep our mood up, to have some kind of spirituality about us, to meditate. There's so many elements that we have to be so much more cognizant of right now because of this virus to boost our immunity. And then, of course, what we put in our body, like you said, inflammation, our gut is our second brain, and inflammation starts in the gut and then it expands to all kinds of things. It becomes, it's sort of a toxic thing within our body. And then it creates disease and sets ourselves up for all types of cancers.
All types of diseases and cancer. And, you know,
yeah,
but we've also been kind of digging deep in since this pandemic is stress levels. Because stress level is a big factor in boosting cortisol, which will then really whack yourself out. And it does create real sickness.
Yes.
So when you say meditate and, you know, take a break from the day and not get overwhelmed, Fran and I are very big on not overwhelming everybody and making sure that we say, hey, here's what we're throwing out there. You choose baby steps, because you just, it is very overwhelming right now, even more so than ever, because we are getting talked at by many different people and angles and perspectives and science, and you just don't want to get overwhelmed. So managing stress these last several months is key. And I do believe that you have to take breaks throughout your day and breathe and either start or end your day with some sort of meditation.
Get outside.
Something that feels good.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I think that's good in any instance, you know, just in normal day in and day out care, but getting outside, exercising, as you and I have been doing outside these last several months, you know, being a part of nature also boosts our immune system. There's all that, you know, like I said, socialization.
Microbiome.
We have a call. Let me see what's going on here. Hello, caller. Are you there?
Yes, hello.
Hi, what's your name and where are you calling from?
My name's Al. I'm calling from Savannah.
Hi, Al. Thanks for calling. Do you have a question or a comment for what we're talking about today?
Oh, I was just curious. I was listening to what Ms. Holland was talking about, and I wanted to see if maybe she had, say, like someone like me who's not really super into, you know, exercising and diet and that sort of stuff. What would be like 3 things I could do right now, immediately after I hang up the phone? What would she recommend?
I love that.
Wow.
Action steps. That's what I do with my clients. Simple little action steps that can get you started. What do you think, Susan?
Well, hi, Alan, Savannah. What I would first do, if you're not getting, well, what I would first say is I would absolutely take yourself outside, close your eyes, take 10 minutes and just slow breathe. Think of happy place, breathe in the nature. If it's not good weather, take yourself on a mat or a bed, lie down, breathe, maybe even put on some, you know, music you love and rest. Just close your eyes and, you know, kind of recalibrate yourself. That would be one thing. You know, with this pandemic, I'm hearing a lot of people who say, you know, I've never used to exercise, but with this pandemic and being so stuck in your home blatantly, there are more people now getting out and walking their neighborhoods and meeting neighbors they never even knew they had. I was just having this conversation earlier today saying I've never been in my place this long, and all of a sudden I'm seeing people and they're like, when did you move here? And I'm like, I've been here 6 years. What about you? So I do think that getting out and walking would be great if you're not really that big on exercising. But also I would try to drink a lot of water. And with that said, you know, try to lower when you say you don't eat well or you're not good with your food intake, you know, try to just give yourself a few days of what is it that you think so bad, right? And cut it out half of the week, like baby steps. So I think between hydration and getting outside and walking and kind of giving yourself a commitment of one less piece of sugar, or if it's soda, stop, or something like that. Commit yourself to 1 or 2 things. And I think that's a great start.
That's really good. That's really good. What do you think, Al? You think you can implement any or one of all of those suggestions that Susan just made?
Yeah, I'm going to try all of that.
Good. You know, and you know, you'll have, yes, And yeah, keep in
Follow
touch.
me.
You can write to us on the Facebook page or afterwards and let us know how it goes. I'm going to make a suggestion that along with that, that you kind of document it, write down what Susan just said to you, and then go ahead and say three times or 3 ways that you're going to go outside. I'm going to take a walk today. I'm going to go do a hike tomorrow. I'm going to a friend, house and we're going to walk together. Just kind of put it in writing. It's usually easier to implement an action step when you put it down in writing, and then you have accountability for it too. So, those kind of things work. Like,
I love that word accountability, by the way.
Yeah, because it's hard. That's why coaches, for someone who does, I'm an accountability person. I give you suggestions and then you come back to me, and there's no shame in it. There's only, it's kind of like having a personal trainer. We keep you on track to build towards, in this case, your higher immunity. So, if you can be your own person and your own accountability and just keep track and not just hear the words, but actually put them to work by documenting them, I think you're going to have better success. So there we bookended you on that answer.
Thank you, Al.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for calling. Let us know how it goes.
I will. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, that's great, because those are what we were just talking about when you called action steps that we can take, simple things that we can do. And those things that you just suggested for Al are anybody can do that. We're not asking him to go do a vigorous exercise program. We're not asking him to drastically change his diet. Just stop drinking your sodas. That first step will help you stop the other things that are not so good for you,
Right.
And I love that. That's the only way to be successful and sustainable, is to take the small action steps. And really the foundation does that. It introduces you to information on how you can be successful within your own health and how you can be preventative, not just for yourself, but for others. Can we talk a little bit about all of the things? Like, I love some of the programs that you guys have, that you have this program, like you have the Detox Your Home Party, you have Be the Change Movement for Youth, and then Fran's Vans, which is really great because you get out to people that otherwise don't have access to healthcare. And they need the information the most, because in some cases, they're the ones that are not taking the kind of care of themselves that could keep their immune system strong.
So we have vans that deliver the equipment to uninsured, underserved communities in the state of California. My wish list is to have them in every single city across the country. We'll see. That program has actually taken a little bit of a halt for funding the last few years in the, health departments. But we have also partnered and are very excited to move forward with what's called Cure Cervical Cancer. And they are a gynecological cancer foundation run by a gynecological oncologist, OBGYN, who goes to third world countries for pap smears and tests for early detection of cervical cancer, because those women are detected with such a curable cancer in very late stages due to the lack of doctors and the lack of equipment.
Wow.
So those programs are really amazing. And we started our foundation around just women's cancers, women's gynecological cancers. And obviously in the last 13 years, we have expanded so much in the space, the health space. But so we are very focused on targeting the women that get diagnosed in late stages. And unfortunately, those are underserved and uninsured women.
Yeah, I love that you're doing that. Yeah, because it isn't just for people who, let's say, are listening to the show or read health magazines and watch health programs. This is for the people that don't know and for that can't afford, once they do know, to do anything about it or have a fear. Fear will really stop you and you have it. And I have to take a quick break, but when we come back in another minute, I want to talk about your little whispers that talk about on your website, and you talk about through the foundation of what people should look out for. And we'll talk about that when we come back. So we'll be right back after we take this break.
I want to share with you a product I've been using for the last month, known as the most powerful antioxidant on earth. It's called My Vital C. My Vital C will not only help you feel healthier, but research shows it will aid in a longer life. And since using My Vital C, here are the things that I noticed: that I have no more restless sleep. It's so much easier now for me to fall asleep. And as you know, sleep is a great immune system booster. I'm also supporting my immune system with antiviral and antibacterial properties, and not to mention the high levels of antioxidants I'm receiving. So the bottom line here is I simply feel better. And now I'm recommending My Vital C to all my clients, my friends, and my family. To order this life-changing product, go to the link myvitalc.com/balanced life. Make sure you take advantage of the 25% discount on subscription. You can cancel at any time. Use the coupon Balanced Life for an additional $15 off your first order. Go to myvitalc.com/balanced life and check out this life-changing product right now.
Hello, we are back. And I actually, one of my sponsors is called My Vital C, and it is an immune boosting compound that I've done a show on. So anybody can check out that show. And these two wonderful men, but one a scientist and with a Nobel Prize winning component that is part of My Vital C, and the other one is a behavioral therapist. And they put together this wonderful formula for you to boost your immune system with. So if you get a chance, go to my YouTube channel, Balanced Life by Debbie, and check out that show. And you can also order a subscription right now, myvitalc/balancedlife.com. And yep, there it is on the screen. Okay, I want to, because I know it's a big part of, what we were talking about earlier and your mission, your and Fran's mission to help people stay well and never get to that point where they're sick. And you have a part on your website that is like cheat sheets. They're the little whispers of things that you should look out for all these different types of cancers.
Right. Well, it's a trick question. And it's also, it's so interesting because I always get such controversy around our cheat sheets. But here's the thing.
Oh, you do?
You have to know your body. So we really, before you even warning whispers, I really always educate, even my friends, we say, get to know your body. You're the only one that knows your body. It's your own journey. When you go to the doctor's office, do not just say, okay. Do not leave there because it's stuff you want to hear. Press on what you believe in your gut. So we all, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So trust me, when my doctors know I'm coming, they book me out over an hour because they know I'm going to sit there and it's not going to just be, okay, yeah, sure. I know what to go. So one of the things is we say, early warning whispers. Self-exam. Certainly, textbook 101, women, go out there and massage your breasts once a month, up and down and sideways and all around. If you feel for a few days in a row off, sleep's off, pain is lingering and it's not going away, get yourself into the doctors immediately and check that out and tell them it's not going away. Even signs of indigestion doesn't always mean it's indigestion. I hate to say that. A lot of ovarian cancers and Fran's uterine cancer, there was, her legs were hurting her and they were saying she had, legs,
Restless leg syndrome. Yeah.
Heartburn, things that we always we want to, push off as, oh, it's just something I ate, or the pain over here is, I lifted too much at the, gym, but don't let that be the excuse if anything lingers on. You yourself know when there's something off in your own body. You are your own thermometer. And
I agree with you so wholeheartedly. Nobody knows you like you know you.
Right.
And when something feels off, if it's your gut, again, your second brain, if your gut is telling you something, you need to check it out. And again, I mean, there is a certain fear that people have to overcome because they don't really want to know if something's wrong. And that's a real, I think, stumbling block for us, a real hurdle.
I always say, if it's something new you're feeling, rule out the bad stuff right away.
Mm-hmm.
So those are early warning whispers.
Yeah.
But I really want to talk about our big prevention programs.
Yes, I do. I want to get into that. Yeah, those early morning whispers I like. And I'm going to suggest that people go to the website, because if you start Googling, you go down that rabbit hole that makes you think you have 15 different diseases. And then you're off into la la land trying to figure out each artery of what these different Google searches take you to. Don't do it. You guys simplify. The book I'm writing now are the simple to-dos, lay it out in chapters for the layman to get into a healthy lifestyle and to not get the doctor lingo really going. And that way it's easier to implement. And that's what you guys do with the website. I love that. You get down to the nitty gritty.
Thank you. And one of our big mantras, we have a lot of mantras. We have a lot of Franisms and a lot of mantras and a lot of trademarks of sayings. And one is, and it was the theme of my last year's Masterclass Health Summit, become a medical consumer as opposed to a passive patient.
Big time. That's very big for Fran and the organization, is that to change the directory or the shift of thinking that you are not that it becomes healthcare, not medical care. So healthcare meaning that our healthcare system is helping us be preventative rather than taking care of us after we're sick, because there's a whole financial gain to be had for us to be a sick nation or a sick world even. And that's terrible. I mean, diseases are created. Names of diseases are created by pharmaceutical companies. So they it could go forever. And I love the fact that, gosh, be proactive in your healthcare so you can stay away from medical care. I just think that's so important. The message is huge. Let's talk about that and the preventative programs that you guys have that are up and running right now that people can get involved in.
Absolutely. Well, I'm very proud of all of them. I have a very small team. We call ourselves the Lean Mean team. But we really grew very large in the prevention space because no one else was really talking about it in this nonprofit niche of a space. We're really the only ones, and we tend to be a little bit radical, but we're the only ones talking about it. So, Fran's not proud that she had cancer and not happy she did, but she's better for it. And she says it all the time. She got cancer, and she's lived to talk about it. So she talks, and we all talk with her, for her, right? We are so blessed that we have a little bit of her celebrity, and that the nanny, which we call the gift that keeps on giving, hasn't been off the air in 23 years.
Yeah, it's still running.
I think 13 or 16 countries. What I'm getting at is that we have a huge resurgence of a very young fan base, as opposed to when we were all young in the 90s watching. She's got 9 to 15-year-olds watching now. And so we kind of started a youth division of Cancer Schmancer that lives on cancerschmancer.org called WTF, We the Future.
Love it.
So with that said, we really wanted to educate families, especially talking to the youth and having the youth talk to the families, right? Sometimes they're like our biggest consumer. And we put together what's called Be the Change. And it's a video program that we had the amazing Jamie Foxx offer his time and his amazing charisma to host Be the Change documentary. It's 25 minutes. And we have about 24 diverse children from, I want to say, 7 to 15, very passionate about what they eat, what they put on their skin, what they use in their bedrooms, use in their gardens. And they all talk about different areas of how to be healthy. And we have Fran talking about detoxing your home and in the kitchen. And then we have the amazing Jeff Bridges talking about the environmental plastic side of the show, of the documentary. And it's awesome. And it really does educate the youth on thinking about when they stop, what we're going to do. We have had a lot of interaction with this. We have premiered it in a few cities. We're kind of saving it again to see where we'd like to go.
So it can't be accessed until you put it back out there, or is there a way to access it for anybody who wants to see it now?
Shortly. It will be accessible shortly. And one of the things that we were working on pre-COVID was facilitating it in all the school districts nationwide.
Oh,
so that
lovely.
had to take a little bit of a backseat, and that's okay. It'll come out bigger and better and stronger. So that Be the Change Youth Program is 25 minutes of amazing kids telling you how to live a healthier and preventative lifestyle and not to get sick. It's fabulous.
Love it. Love it that you're hitting from a very early age, because that is as about as preventative as you can get, is understanding healthcare from a early onset age. Being able to implement all those things that you're talking about and creating habits and lifestyle, and that you can pass along.
Right. You're a mom, I'm a mom. For those who have kids or are around children, when we were growing up, this was not as spoken about. We weren't as aware as these kids are today. These kids are conscious. They're very eco and earth friendly and much more conscious than I feel that when we were younger. So that's great.
Right. I think they have access to more, being, computers and the internet were not a thing, and phones and looking things up and Google. They have access to more now, both good and bad information. And they can see, what can happen if you don't go this route. Yeah. At a very early age, when I started college, because of what I saw around me, like I was talking about in the introduction, I saw all the people I loved and cared about going down for the count. There was heart disease, there were cancers, as I mentioned, there was autoimmune diseases, all kinds of arthritis, all kinds of debilitating things that I saw. At the time, I thought if you were in your early 40s, you were old, but even older from there up, what I saw was my future. I thought I was going to be hunched over. I was going to be sick. My dad died at 46 years old. Wow. I thought, would I go down that, like you, what you saw with your mom, would I go down that path if I continue to live this lifestyle? And I was raised here in the San Fernando Valley as a processed kid. I remember the very first McDonald's going up in LA was out here in the Valley. And my mom thought, she had 4 kids. Oh my God, my savior. That's how I was raised, by fast food and packaged, very high sugar processed food. And I didn't feel good. I didn't look good. I had a brain fog when I was in school. I couldn't attract, a guy, from high school. So by the time I went to college, that was it. I had to take control at a time where we didn't have enough information coming out and enough ways to research what do we do to stop the process. All I needed to knew for sure was that I needed to stop doing what I saw causing the problems within me. I had to start with me. and it worked. And that's my story. If it can work for me, it can work for anyone. I lost weight. I got rid of the brain fog. My hair, my nails started to grow. My skin reflected, my body reflected. I got a boyfriend, all those wonderful things in life, my career, everything came together when I took care of myself. And I think there's so much more access to information out there right now. Yes. That if our youth understood that, and as a result, I was able to raise my family a different way than I was raised. My daughter just had an all natural at-home birth. She's exclusively breastfeeding. She's giving her baby the best start in life, period. Same way I did. And I love that I'm able to carry that on, and hopefully and down the line, I think it's so important that we educate from an early age. And what you guys are doing with this program, that's just really commendable.
One of many, but we definitely, everyone's individual, and everybody should know that there are many things to do to build up your body so you can prevent all sorts of autoimmune diseases. I was touched by cancer, very close. My dad died at 62. I've had nearest and dearest die all around me at young ages from cancer, women and men, and heart disease. And I, like you, went a route and raised girls that are extremely conscious to this day and in a space of wellness and conscientiousness. You must understand what that takes, and learn your body. I went to the doctor 2 Julys ago on a physical, and they took my blood and they're like, oh, borderline Hashimoto's. I'm like, yeah, watch this. See you next year. Yeah, well, I showed them.
That's proactive. That's knowing that you can be the change. You can be the change.
I said to myself, wow, with all I do, I said, so what is it that I'm not that strict about? Where is that going? And 2 years ago, I got rid of gluten. And
big one.
And there's many supplements that you can take. You just have to know.
You have to know your body, and you have to know what it is that, it can be a trial and error thing. I work with people on this. It's really doable. It's doable. You're the perfect example.
You can reverse many things today. And, sometimes my friends get really annoyed with me because I try not to be preachy, but I'm so passionate. One of my friends, and I think she's listening now on Facebook, Allie Marcus, I love you so much.
I know Allie. She was on my show. Hi, Allie.
She's also,
she was the one I was trying to tell you. Remember, I said, I know a friend of yours, that she's a really good friend. I saw you were at a birthday party together. It was Allie Marcus. So hopefully, hi, Allie. Yeah.
She's in this space with me and in other areas. And she's just, I get passionate. So I get, very adamant about the people I love near and dear to me to say, hey, why aren't you doing this? And please eliminate that. And can you curtail on this a little? Because when it's around me, how can you not? Because one of the things I love about what I do is I service. I'm in it for service, to service people. And
passion will create service. And your passion for health and wellness, it's worked for you. You've seen it work for Fran and others. And, our loved ones, like I was just talking about, and that we can't help but be of service. I had a very successful career as a television commercial producer, but I found myself, I was in fitness at a very, I've been in fitness for over 30 years, but it was a side hustle. But I found myself giving people advice on the set. And then they'd come back, like some of my clients that lived across the country, when they would come back to shoot a commercial, or I would go fly over there to shoot a commercial with them, suddenly they lost 30 pounds and they're exercising every day. And they go, I listened to what you said. I was like their little guru on the set for 2 weeks or whatever it was, but they actually implemented a different lifestyle and made the change. And then I knew that eventually this was going to become a career. Yeah, exactly. And passion is service.
I tend to definitely be passionate about things I see. So anyway,
I just love that that you've created sort of a continuous what's the word I'm looking for? Like momentum with your kids, because what you're doing with them, and then they're telling their friends, and then they're going to have a family is down the line. And it's just, we need to get on that roller coaster of being able, not roller coaster, but on that track of being able to keep people in this sort of positive field of understanding, taking care of yourself, and that you have the power.
It becomes a community. I watch it in my daughters. Both my daughters are very conscious. Both are very in tune to their bodies, and both seem to surround themselves with the community of like-minded people. And so there's always a domino effect, I believe.
Yes, big time. And I love it. So what are the programs that are with COVID and being limited right now in the last 5 minutes that we have? What are the programs that are running, and how can people volunteer? How can they get involved? How can they donate? Okay. Tell us all about those wonderful things.
Well, since COVID, I'll talk new COVID formats.
Yeah.
I produce what's called the Masterclass Edu Series. So what that is it's an 8-part with bonuses, episodic webinar that is downloadable, or you can also own it with a donation. And it's, we take the bulk of our masterclass health summits that we used to do in person, and I look forward to doing it again in person the last several years at our gorgeous Dorothy Chandler Pavilion. And it's an all-day health and wellness summit with out of the box global amazing leaders in all of the health space from head to toe. And what I do is I cut it up and I make it into 8 parts, and we throw it out there, and it's an amazing source of information. What we did again in April and said, how do we stay relevant? What are we going to do? How do we use our voices? We're in lockdown. Let's produce a 20 episodic Corona Care for You series and get everybody on board about how not to get sick, how not to get the virus, or how about if you get the virus, you don't get so sick from the virus. And that's because most people are getting sick from complications of the virus. Mm-hmm. So we produced a 20 episodic show there that you can everything's on cancerschmancer.org.
I have to say, I've watched several of those shows, and they were very informative. Very informative. We
have the Corona Care for You series, which I might pick up shortly after the new year. We've got our Masterclass Edu series. I will be producing a 2021 Masterclass. We just don't know in person or online, which will be amazing. And we do a really fun cabaret with all our Broadway friends, which is like a telethon. And that was really fun in June. I usually do it live in New York every June, but we did it. But my standing yearly programs are the Masterclass Edu series and the Be the Change. The Corona Care series for You will continue and grow with this as organic as possible.
Yeah.
And we do, listen, you can help and volunteer by creating, chapters within your community, do some sort of fun fundraisers. Feel free to go online and reach out to me or Al and ask what you can do. We'll be happy to, let you know. Usually in person, we have a lot of volunteers at each of these events. So we're trying to figure out what the new volunteer program can look like from home.
Yeah, you're reinventing how these programs can stay alive. It's wonderful, wonderful. I'm so glad. So let's, Kurt, can we put up on the screen how people can access? It is cancerschmancer.org, correct?
Yeah. Can I just throw one thing in?
Yes.
Cancerschmancer.org, yes. If you could throw it on the screen, terrific. We also just built a brand new shopping store. Now, we're not usually the place you go and buy goodies, but I will say this: you got to think of everything to supplement some revenue in the nonprofits. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And we really, really, really built some really fun, franny, swaggy Cancer Schmancer merchandise and rebuilt a whole shopping store. So that's really fun and exciting.
A great way to support the cause. Yeah. Really a great way. Really very nice. So I have a thing where I have all my guests leave me with final thoughts, words of wisdom, just something you want to impart to the audience before we go.
Okay, well, first of all, be very grateful and bless what we do have. There's always a silver lining. Good things come from bad happenings a lot of the time. So keep positive, stay strong, kiss or hug a loved one. Again, just be grateful what we do have right now, and take it day by day, and don't overwhelm yourself.
That's beautiful. It's wonderful advice. Susan, I want to thank you for your time. I look forward to seeing you in my spin classes.
Friday morning.
So fun. Friday morning. Yeah, we're going for it. You should have seen us sweating in 37 degrees outside yesterday. Be glad you weren't there.
That's okay. No, I wasn't glad, but I will be there on Friday to see you. And I thank you for having me on the show. It was wonderful.
Thank you so much. Stay right there. I'll be right back with you. But I want to say goodbye to my audience. I want to thank you for joining us today. This was a lot of information, and it's all about being the best version of yourself that you can be, so you can get educated in information if you go onto this website and get involved in this foundation. So please do that. And again, keep going out and having conversations that connect to a healthier you. And I'll see you all back here in 2 weeks. Bye, everybody. Thank you. Bye.